Welcome to Sports Talk at the Stadium tonight from First Bank Stadium in Nashville, where South Carolina defeats Vanderbilt 28-7. The Gamecocks get their sixth win of the season, thus they are bowl eligible for the third time in 4 years under Shane Beamer. Our report is brought to you by the South Carolina Beef Council. Well, beating Vanderbilt, you might say, is really no big deal. The Gamecocks have done it 16 times in a row. This win was a big deal. This win came on the road, wet conditions, packed house, though it only seats about 30,000 fans right now because they're going through some reconstruction of the stadium. But this Vanderbilt team is very, very good and ranked 24th nationally, and a team that beat Alabama, and a team that played Texas very close, and a team that just won at Auburn. So this is not your typical win over Vanderbilt where you just shrug your shoulders and say, well, that was expected. Now, the Gamecocks were slight favorites, but still, this was a very good road win for the Gamecocks, their third SEC road win of the season as they improved to 4-3 in the league and 6-3 overall. Now, 28-7 might indicate it was a one-sided game, but it was not that at all. This was only a 7-0 game at halftime, though it felt like the Gamecocks were dominating because they dominated time of possession and number of plays, but they just could not cash in. They did miss a 42-yard field goal. They did score the one touchdown, and they did go up 14-0 in the second half before Vanderbilt scored. But the Gamecocks came right back and scored, and then later scored to put the game away with a 3-touchdown difference between the teams. So final score indicated that the Gamecocks kind of rolled, but really they kind of had to fight their way through this thing all night long. Gamecocks finished with 452 yards, 214 on the ground. They averaged 7.2 yards per play. They were 9 of 12 on third down. And Rocket Sanders was big once again, had 2 touchdown runs, one of length. He also had a 43-yard touchdown on a screen pass. He finished with 128 yards. Quarterback Lenora Sellers was very efficient in this one, except for a fumble where he failed to protect the football. He protected the football, threw no interceptions, scrambled incredibly well, threw the ball well under duress, 14 of 20 for 238 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a marvelous play in the third quarter where it appeared he was going to be sacked. He spun away from the sack, and he found Brown open downfield for 51 yards, and then 2 plays later, Sanders went in for a touchdown. That was an incredible play that helped turn the game in the Gamecocks' favor. Defensively, South Carolina had a couple of sacks. They had 8 quarterback pressures. They had 6 tackles for loss. And impressively, their secondary and maybe a little bit up front as well, they broke up 8 passes on the night. So that was very good. And they did that without drawing any pass interference penalties, any holding penalties or anything like that. So a really clean game played back there by the Gamecock secondary. They did not have DQ Smith tonight. He aggravated something in warm-up, so he could not go, and Peyton Williams stepped in and played very well for them at safety. Josiah Thompson, the left tackle, was hurt during the game. Not sure exactly how serious. Shane Beamer said it was a lower body thing, and Tree Babalati came in and played well at that left tackle spot. They also had a couple of guys banged up on the defensive side as well. Ataka Hemingway may have some kind of a hand injury that he'll have to deal with. Josh Simon was big again at tight end. He had another touchdown catch. That gives him 4 touchdown receptions in his last 3 games. Vandy was held to only 274 yards, only 108 on the ground, and the 7 points, their low scoring amount of the season. And South Carolina's defense came up big twice in the second half when Vandy did move the ball, once to the 36, stopped on downs, another time to the Gamecock 39, and again they were stopped on downs there. Another key item from this one offensively, last week after they won that game last week at home, we talked about how the Gamecocks were not really spreading the ball around offensively in the passing game. They needed to get more people involved in the passing game because against Texas A&M, not too many receivers touched the ball. 7 different receivers, including those out of the backfield, caught passes tonight, including Nick Harbor, who probably had his best game as a Gamecock as a receiver with 3 catches for 43 yards. He really, including one very difficult catch where he took a big hit. He really showed up big tonight. So a lot of positive things for South Carolina to carry out of Nashville tonight with this win. Not the least of which, of course, is becoming bowl eligible. And they'll definitely be in the rankings next week. I would imagine both the coaches poll as well as the riders poll on Sunday, and then the playoff committee's top 25 ranking. I would think the Gamecocks should be included. They feel like they're playing as well as any team in the country right now. If they win out and go 9-3, going to come up short as far as getting to the SEC championship game. Probably not going to make the playoffs either, but they're going to get a very fine bowl game if that were to happen. But there's still more work to be done. An always tough Missouri team comes to Columbia next Saturday afternoon. So more coverage here on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on Sunday, coverage of the Shane Beamer conference call. And then Monday night, we'll be joined by Chris Bergen and Matt Smith, Smitty covering Clemson on this Saturday. We'll talk all about it with you on Sports Talk Monday night. That'll do it for our coverage here from Nashville, brought to you by the South Carolina Beef Council.